I fucking laugh every time I see this intro because I get to see the fucking monster that is season 42 or 41. I'm here with Sarah Hart, Dan Montchal. What is going on? I was out last week. I was in the mountains of Tennessee on spring break. I didn't even watch Survivor last week, and I had to stay offline because I didn't even have a chance to watch last week's episode. I watched it actually yesterday. Great episode, and I hate being spoiled. And so I unfortunately I got spoiled on the winner of Australian Survivor Blood versus Water.
Yeah, me too.
I think I saw Sandra Diaz Twine's post, which is fine. I chose not to watch, and the reason I haven't watched it is because obviously we do a lot of podcasts on Survivor. We do season 42 stuff, and then we do the 2019 Survivor Australia for the patrons. So I don't want to get burnt out on Survivor because podcasting, I've been doing it for years and doing it consistently. And it's a lot of time involved watching the shows, talking about it. I always want to be super stoked on what I'm doing. So I don't want to ever get burnt out on Survivor because I fucking love it. And this season is no different for American Survivor. I don't know where you two stand for season 42, but Sarah, let's go first. What is your thoughts on the season as a whole thus far? We're 5 episodes in. The merge is next week. Where are you at?
I definitely enjoy the season more than I did last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that not everything's being shoved in your face. Advantages aren't constantly being talked about the whole entire time. So it's more about the players and like camp life and strategy. So I definitely enjoyed that piece.
Right. And what about you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Well, first, Australian Survivor is almost impossible to not be spoiled on. I mean, I've been doing the episodes with Johnny, and I'm watching them within 24 hours of them, being posted. And it's almost impossible for me not to know who goes right before we talk. But when it comes to this season, I'm kind of, with you two. I think it's a lot better than what 41 is. You're getting more of the camp life. And I think another thing that's also nice to see is not everyone that's in there is new school, like, okay, game bot, like it's all about the game and numbers. I think you see more genuine people like Jonathan, for instance. He has kind of like a throwback to him that he almost seems like he'd be a character pulled out of an older school version where it's about the tribe. It's about us staying together and loyal. So I think it's nice to see different character dynamics.
I agree. And I want to talk about John because watching this man, we saw, I think last week, he had a confessional where he's talking about when he was 3 years old, his dad would wake him up to do pull-ups or some shit. This guy is literally one of, I say, top 10 easy Survivor challenge beasts of all time in American Survivor, at least, taking Australian Survivor away. Mm-hmm. I mean, every single, and yes, he's playing in a season with a bunch of weaklings as far as physical strength, but come on, this guy, if he's up against Malcolm or Ozzy or, Colby back in the day, Gravedigger James, I think John would be one of the greatest. Any circumstance, swimming. I mean, we saw tonight in a challenge how great he is at just anything that he does. And that's what Dan, what you're saying is that type of player, it was about let's win challenges. He's a likable guy. But the problem is with John is he's such a badass that at some point soon, he's going to have to go because no one is going to have a chance in an individual immunity type scenario against this guy, period. And if they get him out, then they will have more of an equal playing field. You know what I mean? As far as challenges go. I mean, do you see him going deep into the game or is he just someone you think is going to be out pretty soon?
I think it only depends on how much he wins. But I mean, if you're saying merge is next, then he made it. So he might have a hard time not making it very far because he probably will. Unless there's like some sort of puzzle or counting triangles, I think he gets decently far.
Yeah, which honestly, that is true. every challenge in Survivor is not a physical challenge. So he may be a total dum-dum on some sort of like, let's say it's a challenge where it's one of those memory deals where they're like, on day one, the tribe talked about these 3 items, A, B, or C. He probably would not have like a good memory style challenge. But if you had like gross food eating or anything physical, he's going to be dominating. So we are, day 10 into the game. Swati is gone. And I think because she was so young that she was kind of naive in telling people that she was their number one, etc. So I think if she wouldn't have done that, I think it's an age thing. Put her 5 years from now, she would not have made that same mistake. So Swati is gone, and we're back at camp. Roxroy obviously is like, dude, my social game sucks. I did not see this coming, and he's really not playing the same game really as the rest of the people on the tribe. You have a lot of players that are really actually pretty strategic and thinking about gameplay in a different way. And I think Roxroy is he's kind of the oddball out. Were you surprised by, I know you guys did the podcast last week about Swati, but were you surprised that Swati was gone when she was last week based off of her gameplay?
I think it made sense because someone who's willing to throw out that many promises to almost everyone on the tribe, I think it makes it really hard to trust, well, what will she do at the merge? Like when she gets with other people, is she really with us? Because she can't even really make her allegiances known inside of one tribe. So what does that mean when you put her out with, 11, 12 people? Mm-hmm. She could constantly be double dealing.
Yeah. So, and I do, like when I was watching that, myself who was able to play the game of Survivor, I had a great social game going. I got along with everybody, even though they might have shown that I might have been the outcast of the cool kids on Caramoan. I was still in with those people. I was definitely playing, creating these relationships with people. But there's one thing about creating relationships and building an alliance versus promising people early in the game, like, I'm your number one, because as soon as other people talk like they were finding out, that's an immediate red flag. And this game is a lot quicker. I mean, what are we, 5 episodes into the game? A lot of shit's gone on. I'm really not, like I said, a fan of the 3 tribes. So whatever they end up doing next week, a 2-hour show, whether it's a merge or a swap or something, I'm kind of looking forward to that part of it. So after, Roxroy didn't see this coming, Tori is like, I am not down with the 4 people here. Like, we might be all kumbaya. Oh, we're a 4, but she's not. I think Tori is someone that if there is a switch up, she's going to be going to other people to play the game with. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she even kind of alluded to it herself that she doesn't feel, oh, we're a tight 4. And so she's one of the first people I could see approaching members from the other 2 tribes being like, hey, where can I fit in? Because, I mean, it's been pretty obvious so far through these first 5 episodes that she doesn't necessarily fit in with her other 3. It's just more been other circumstances that have helped her stick around.
And I think it would be hard playing on such a small tribe when you don't have, like when I played, it was 2 tribes of 10. So like, if you didn't really like jive with like 3 people, you still had a whole bunch of other people to kind of form relationships with. So if you're out there and it's such a small group, I think it would be almost harder to really, I don't know how to describe it, but just really get your core game going until there's other people that you're willing to work with. Because there, Roxroy, obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Roxroy. He doesn't do much for me. I like Tori, and I think Tori, if she can survive long enough, that she could make it decently far. And watching this episode tonight, there's a lot of strategic players that I'm starting to see like the gameplay come out. With Romeo and Hai, especially. I think Hai is probably the most strategic game player this season so far.
I love Hai, especially in his one part like where's all the votes, and then just how he stands up to Daniel. So I love him so much, and even in the beginning of this episode, he has this little moment of talking about how he feels about the vote going forward. It's pretty cool to see Hai and like what he's been doing this game.
So was Hai prior to playing Survivor? Was he like somebody that played like online Survivor games and stuff like that? Does anyone know anything about his background?
I don't. The only person that I know played like online games was Chanel.
Okay, right on.
Which to me explains. Oh, I was gonna explains
go ahead.
Explains to me a little bit about her gameplay a little bit, because she is very like forward with what she says, and she's more willing to make moves. And I feel like that's kind of a very online game characteristic. So it's kind of cool to see that actually play out in
real life. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that play. I mean, obviously, Sarah, you have. I don't know if you have, Dan, played some of the online stuff or the like Surviving Real Foot, these Survivor-like games that are huge fans, and to see how they would do in actually the real game of Survivor, because you know, I was a fan since day one, and I thought about the game and how it works, and thought about how I would play like going into it. But then like once you get out there, it's just so fucking crazy. Your mind's blown. Like, holy fuck, I'm actually out here playing Survivor. It's like a fucking dream. You know what I mean? So it is cool. Like I'm gonna be watching Chanel with more of a microscope based on her knowing that she was, because I know you had said before, Sarah, that some players had played these games. So it is day 10 of the Taku tribe. The girls are talking about Mario Kart, and they're just jibber jabbing, and Jonathan is just like super fucking annoyed.
He's just not having it.
He's not, and I get it, like, because there's really nowhere to, you're hanging out around camp. You know, it's like the days that, let's say, there are not a challenge. It's just camp day. You're making your fucking food if you have it. And he just like, dude, I do not want to blow up, because if you get fucking Thor to go the hell off, it's game over for him. So he is at least smart enough to realize I'm annoyed, and my best strategy right now is to go out in the ocean for hours and fish and just get away from it. And unlike Rupert's aquarium fish, we see John go out and come back with like Red Lobster ass fish and having a feast. So this is a guy that if I'm playing the game, I'm going to be like, all right, this dude is a challenge beast, but he's also a provider. And I want to eat because they're not getting any food, rice, whatever, which I think is super gnarly. What people don't realize, like, oh, it's 26 days. You are dying of thirst. You're starved. And I had rice and coconuts and stuff like that. But when they don't have really anything food-wise, having fish and having him be able to provide for the tribe is a huge advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan being on their tribe, from what we've seen, it seems like they're eating a lot more than anyone else because he's able to do it. And kind of touching on what you said before of him walking away, he's getting annoyed. And I think that is one of the things that I'm really enjoying for the season, is that there's a lot of people here that seem to be self-aware. And so, you know, maybe they're not perfect players or characters. They're at least, hey, I don't want to come off this way. And if I do, you know, if he were to blow up, he knows it's game over. And so I think it is interesting to see, was, you know, him and Mike being like, I have to change something because I can't do it or it's not going to go well.
No, that is amazing, because I think someone like Marianne, I don't know if she knows how I like Marianne, but I could see how she would be like extremely annoying if you're out there just wanting to chill. She's so over the top giddy. Do you think she's self-aware, like John is, or totally clueless and oblivious?
I don't. I think she's just so excitable. I think she's smart, and I actually think that she would be a person that I would love to see play a second time. To be able to watch back and see her game.
Yeah.
Move on it in the future.
Right. Yeah, her enthusiasm is contagious, because like I'm like doctor positive, always like, I'm stoked, I'm happy, I'm in a good mood every day. It takes a lot for me to get pissed. And when I do get pissed, I'm like, John, you get me fucking pissed, then it's really fucking bad. And I don't like getting to that level, but it takes a fucking lot. And the fucking crazy thing is, when I played Survivor and I get in a fight with Shamar on my tribe day one, within a couple hours of being out on the island, that was completely unlike anything ever in my real life. I'm not confrontational with anybody, and that's the beauty of Survivor casting. They can put somebody like myself and like an angry type person or someone that's going to ruffle people's feathers and put them on the show to cause these issues. And that's exactly happening now with the girls that are like super annoying to John. Because even when he's like, hey, do you guys know where my canteen is? And they're like, why don't you just tell them where your canteen is? They're like, you're getting warmer, you're getting colder. And he just like, you can just see the frustration in his eyes. But yeah, I still like them, the girls. I'm down with them.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the questions since the start is everyone, seems to love Marianne's personality and she's so positive and upbeat, but will it grate on people the longer that you're out there? So I think it'll be interesting to see, is this something where it was just getting under Jonathan, because you hit him at the wrong day, or moving forward, especially when, they merge and there's going to be, 12 of them together. Is it just him, or is that going to continue to drive other people nuts as well?
I think it'll drive other people nuts. I think that literally, like, it's driving him nuts in, what is it, a tribe of 4 people or something like that. When you merge with 12, the odds are she's going to be annoying, and she's, I don't think, going to last because she's so likable. If you bring her deep into the game, she could win just on the likability factor, but I feel that she's not even going to be able to get to that position because she's going to annoy the shit out of so many people. They're just like, dude, I fucking can't stand her. And I also think Marianne is someone that you really wouldn't be able to trust. I don't think, like, if Hai was talking strategy to Marianne, that Marianne, I think she would like blab her mouth to somebody else. You know what I mean? I just don't think she's got the strategy. But another thing with Marianne is that was kind of annoying is, like, John's like sitting there at camp. He's chopping with a machete, like whatever he's doing for the fire. She's like, you hit me. And he's like, I didn't hit you. I'm chopping and you got in my way. And then she's like, well, I had my certain work area. And he's just like, fuck. He's the one doing all the damn heavy lifting and work. I don't know what the fuck work she was doing. But in no way would I ever think that dude would purposefully fucking hit somebody with a damn machete or anything of the nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she making a big deal out of everything. And then Omer was just like, God, I just wish these little petty fights would like stop. Mm-hmm. Because if we get to a situation, we don't want all this fucking drama going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, do you guys think that Marianne in a deep game scenario that she's gonna last, or is she done?
I know for myself, if I were on the island, I would be done with her after probably a couple days. I think she's great, but it would just be a lot for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I feel like with everybody able to get on her same page, you can tell like how many conversations or confessionals have we heard about Marianne and how much they've annoyed them.
Yeah,
it's been a couple.
Yeah, I mean, if she doesn't change now, I could see her being in a lot of trouble just because that's going to drive people nuts. And especially, when you're voting at 10, 11, 9, at some point, it's not, okay, what's best for my game? It's if they don't fall into your numbers, why not get rid of them? Because it's going to make camp life better.
Yeah.
More enjoyable.
And I don't think she's going to change. It's like every time, like, it's like when they bring her into like a challenge and they're like, so-and-so got voted out at last tribal. She makes this huge, like, it's like the biggest fucking deal on the planet, and which is kind of odd because I don't think she even knows like who. She really didn't have a relationship with some of these people, like that have gotten voted out, but it's still like everything is a big deal. That's what John said. And you see that. Everything is just this big fucking thing. But overall, I dig her. So back at Vadi Tribe, Hai does not trust anyone, especially Chanel and Daniel. And Daniel has totally screwed his own game up. Anyone that goes to a tribal council and starts dogging their own game, giving away too much information, and he even did it tonight, saying, I'm not one of the best. I'm not one of the great players. Like he's like comparing himself to like great Survivor players. I feel he's very insecure, and I just don't feel like you need to like, scream that on the mountaintops of how much you suck or how much your game's blowing up. I mean, do we ever like explain that to me? Why would someone play a game like that?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is, he could be trying to make himself not look like as big of a threat. He could think that he's playing really well. I've seen people do it in online games. I mean, it could be a thing, but it might not be. But either way, it usually doesn't get people in a very good spot. So you need that confidence. You want to be able to see somebody be confident with either their win or with how they do in the game.
Now, between Chanel and Daniel, like right now, like if you were out there playing the game, who would you trust more as far as working with them?
I would probably lean Chanel. I don't think necessarily either of those are the two best options you could have. But I would trust someone, at least if you could get a relationship with them, potentially you could work with them, where it just seems like Daniel, every time he opens his mouth, it's, oh, why did you say that? And it's just like, what are you doing? And unfortunately, it's just another long line of people with my namesake that go out on this island and don't play well.
Yeah, it's interesting because not only, he says things that are just like total red flags. If I'm out there, I'd be like, I would not trust the guy at all. In addition to that, just like his shoulders fucked up apparently, but then he's out there swimming and snorkeling and fishing with the spear and seems totally fine doing that. That would kind of irritate me. And it's almost like worse than Sandra. It's like, come on, Daniel, the sit out bench every fucking time. Like, if I'm out there playing Survivor, I want to compete in the challenge. Why wouldn't you? You're out there a once in a lifetime, maybe if you're lucky, twice, 3, 10 times if you're Boston Rob. But why would you want to just sit out and say, oh, I have no value to my tribe? These are things that putting yourself down, and I know what you're saying, Sarah, like maybe it's a strategic move, but in Daniel's part, I just think it's a dumb move.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, do you think he's afraid of failing? Because, I mean, he saw even this time, he's just like, oh, I wouldn't be good at this. And does it come from maybe just a lack of self-confidence that he'd even be able to do well? Or, I don't know, what do you think about that?
You know what? I don't know, because like it's not like the challenge that happened tonight was like a super crazy one. Like, like it's just a basic challenge. I think if the three of us went out there and did this, I think we'd be pretty even in our skill ability. I don't think it takes like the last part of the challenge, which we'll get to in a little bit, obviously was more technique of being like a sports kind of person, but climbing over some ropes and unbraiding some shit, anyone can do that. So like, I just don't feel that. Yes, maybe he is insecure, but I also think maybe he is doing a strategy like, if I don't compete, I can't get blamed for losing the challenge type thing. You know what I mean? Which could be a good strategy. But yeah, he's out there fishing, snorkeling. He's having a good time. But it's kind of like annoying everyone in his tribe. Everyone sees it. They're all talking about it. And, Mike even says, we've been carrying Daniel since day one when he fell and his shoulder got popped out, So again, not only is Daniel not smart in the fact that he's admitting that he's a bad player, saying way too much information at tribal council, but he's also sitting out in challenges. These are a lot of red flags to where I'd be like, yeah, if we go to tribal, Daniel's got to be the guy to go. You know what I mean?
I think.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I was gonna say. I think two things. One thing, didn't Stephanie like dislocate her shoulder during a challenge? Did she like never sat out?
Stephanie
Yeah, Heroes
LaGrossa?
vs. Villains. She's still, I'm pretty sure she's still completed.
And she got
she,
popped
every
back
episode.
in and went. Okay. Point made there. And the second part is to your question before, Matt, about who you'd rather vote. I think it would depend on what kind of tribe I was on. Because if I'm in a tribe where it doesn't seem like, things are going, it's a great number. No one's going to respect him at the end. So,
Yeah, it's weird. I really wanted to love Daniel. I love his story, leukemia survivor. I also love that he's from Cincinnati. And anytime someone from my hometown is playing Survivor, I'm obviously going to root for him. When Angela Perkins from Ghost Island played, I'm just like, oh man, why? So at the it's day 10 and we're at the Ika. Is it Ika? Yeah. So Romeo and Drea, they're looking for idols. I love these two players. They're looking for idols together, and they're as gamers, and the fact that they can 100% trust each other. I think it would be really fucking cool to be able to go out there. I was doing the same thing with my friend Michael Snow out there on Survivor Caramoan, knowing that if either of us find an idol, we will use it the best we can to help either of us out in the instance that we need to save one another. So Romeo and Drea are looking for this, and Drea ends up finding it, which is obviously the three-way idol. She has to eventually do the phrase or she loses her vote. And we see this footage that we've seen throughout season 42 of footage from home. We see Romeo's family footage. He's talking about his mom. He's talking about him being a coach for the women's pageants or whatever. And he's like, he gets really emotional because he's like, he feels like he wants to kind of help Drea and almost coach her. So I don't know if that's a little bit of foreshadowing to where they make it deep into the game and then he gets voted out and lets Drea blossom to try to go deeper into the game. But I love this moment and I love these two together. So I want to get, Sarah, what are your thoughts on this duo?
I think it's a good duo. I wasn't sure how I felt about Drea at first, just because I felt like she was playing real hard, real fast, and she was coming across a little rough. So I was a little worried about her, but she's redeeming herself. I mean, she's doing great. Like we can't argue with that. She's doing awesome. But if hopefully we see in other seasons that people don't always keep their mouths shut. So hopefully she does, because I really think she'd be gone if she opens her mouth. I would do that.
And what about you, Dan, as far as the dynamic of the gameplay strategy? It's kind of like, that's the beauty of Survivor. You get people from all different walks of life to come here, play this crazy game. So it may be, and maybe a possible unlikely duo, but it seems to work. And I see them going far together. So where are you at with this, Dan?
Yeah, I think if moving forward they can get a good footing, I think they'll be in a really good spot, because it seems like maybe they can work with Roxroy or some others, but they're a tight two. It's not necessarily the rest of the four. And so I think that they can do really well in this game. And I found myself having more of an appreciation for Romeo. I mean, we knew that Drea was very strong in the challenges and we saw her playing hard, but I wasn't sure how I felt about Romeo because we didn't get a ton of him through the first few episodes, and kind of seeing him open up, hear his backstory. I feel a lot better about him moving forward in the game than I did before this episode.
I 100% agree. And that's the beauty of why I feel that storytelling through these, it doesn't even take that long to show literally like a 30 to 45 second video clip of someone's past stuff, to where that's literally all it takes for you to engage with that player and really find a something that you have in common with them. And that was why, in my opinion, that Survivor has lasted so long, because you got Big Tom on there. So you got, any of the like farmer hillbilly type people relating with Big Tom. And then you have, Lex, and you have like all the rock and roll, like myself, like tattooed. Wow, this guy's in a fucking band. Oh, I relate with him. And then so having people from everyday walks of life to be able to relate with, you get this when you see their videos. And it's just, Survivor had kind of gotten away from that. So to me, props to American Survivor for pulling that back out. We even saw that on season 41. I mean, it was episode 1, and I think it was Tiffany. They showed like, it was like she comes out on the island, and it was like a last minute call that she made, and she like jumps up on her husband and like, oh my God, I'm playing Survivor. And you get fucking excited for that. So I'm really digging this. Drea, she has this idol. She feels like currency is key in this game. I'm Survivor rich because I have like, what does she have? An idol, and what is it? Another extra vote or something, Dan?
Yeah, and she also, it's been a while because it hasn't been talked about, but is she the one that has the amulet? Yeah, it's her, Hai, and I forget who has it from the other that have that amulet from the very first episode that will come into play.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fucking amulet. What the fuck is an amulet? What is that?
Kind of like an idol.
Okay. So the good thing about this is like typically I do get like overwhelmed, and we talked about this earlier, Sarah, with advantages and agendas and this and that, and that's the beauty. Like some of these, like this whole idol thing with the phrases, it kind of annoyed me last season. It doesn't annoy me as much this season. I'm actually kind of enjoying the way it's playing out. I like that. The whole what is it that you can play the shot in the dark, that hasn't really annoyed me as bad. So I think that this season is definitely playing out a lot better than last season. And so yeah, I'm digging it. So Drea has this idol. She knows Marianne has the other idol based on Marianne's phrase that she gave before the last challenge or whatever. But Mike, he doesn't want anyone to know. So correct me if I'm wrong. So if Mike does not say the secret phrase and they go to a merge, for example, does that mean that all of the idols are activated without saying the phrase?
Yeah, so how it works is you lose your vote entire pre-merge and the idol because it's not activated. But if they all make it to the merge with their idol, it becomes fully active. So even if Mike, he was going back and forth whether he wanted to say the phrase or not, if he had not said the phrase, the other two idols wouldn't have been activated as well as his wouldn't have. But as soon as it came merge time, they'd all be good to go and all have their votes back.
Wow. Which honestly, if I'm Mike, that is a pretty good potential way of playing this. But he even says, look, I don't want to have to say the phrase. However, if I'm in a position and someone says the phrases, I might have to make just a split second decision on whether I'm going to say the phrase or not. And speaking of Mike, Reality NSFW fans, Johnny Fairplay is at a viewing party tonight in DC with Wendell and Bryce. And I'm assuming Mike is there. Maybe not. But in our secret Facebook group, which you can be a part of if you become a patron, we have a great community, ad-free, nsfw.com. What we do is we cover Australian Survivor 2019 is what we're doing right now. We do a podcast on that. We also do a weekly Q&A. It's just like a big family. I mean, you guys know how it is. It's like we've been doing this podcast forever. And during COVID, this whole shit of just the community has been so awesome for me. And now like Johnny has created this platform for Sarah and Dan and many others to participate in a lot of great podcasts on our network. So besides just this, Sarah, if you want to tell about your podcast, I want to kind of hand the mic over to you just to like tell the listeners like what other kind of coverage that we have besides what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So my show is called The Mind After the Game. You may not have seen that on there, actually. So what I do is I interview Survivor players on their pre-game. So sometimes talking about casting, during the game, and after the game about kind of the mental aspect versus gameplay or as a player. So sometimes I get some really great stories. Sometimes it's kind of home life that I get stories about. I've taken a couple week break. I'm hoping to start getting some more people and doing more interviews. So there should be new episodes up in the future for sure. So catch that when it comes back. It'll be on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And then Dan, you pop in and there's also the Deep Dive podcast, which unfortunately I haven't been able to get on, but the Deep Dive podcast goes kind of deeper into the episode. This is more of a play-by-play breakdown of the episode directly after it happens. Then we have the deep dives. Then we have Brent Walgamot that does the Big Brother coverage, and it's just awesome. So just like I said, ad-free NSFW. And if you want to become a patron, it's the best way to support it. And if you don't like it, Johnny will send your money back. But before we get into the immunity challenge and tribal council, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. So see you guys in a couple minutes.
Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer-lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? no problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness. But they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.
We are back, and I found some sweet mirrored sunglasses.
Wow.
My hair, too, like, when I played Survivor, my hair was really long. And then I cut it short, and then when COVID hit, I decided not to get a haircut. And that's kind of what you've seen. I'm just kind of... I'm growing long hair again for no reason other than the fact that I couldn't go to get a haircut, and then it started getting long, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm growing long hair again. So here I am. I look like Randy Macho Man Savage. It is a music challenge / reward challenge time, and we go in. Marianne is all like, oh my God, Swati is gone. Holy fuck. But I love this because usually I'll be annoyed by this whole phrase thing because I wasn't really a fan of it season 41. But Marianne does her phrase, followed by Drea doing her phrase, which, by the way, if I had to do some phrase, I would not remember half the phrase. I would be like, yeah, soccer is kind of cool, but it makes me cry once in a while. Like, I would have no fucking idea what the fuck. Because I'm terrible at fucking that shit. But so when the first 2 people say it, I'm like, is Mike going to say it? Is Mike going to say it? And Mike goes in, says the phrase. It was a last minute decision on his part. And he kind of played it off perfect. Like, I'm the coach guy. Hey, I got something to say about soccer, and it brings tears to my eyes, or whatever he says. Bam. Everyone now has a vote. all 3 idols are activated.
Mm-hmm.
So I like how this plays out. What is your thoughts?
I mean, I think Mike had to say it. I mean, on the off chance they lost, I think it would have been great if he could have been like, no, I'm not going to say it. I don't want anyone to know.
Yep.
But I think given the circumstances and him not being sure because Jenny went out last time, I think he had to do it. I mean, I don't know how you'd say any of those 3 phrases that would be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
The only thing that I thought was a little weird was just the fact that Marianne, like, we heard you say this phrase before, like, let someone else speak up. And it's like she just can't spit it out fast enough.
I know. And maybe she's rehearsing it. Because I'll tell you what, for those that don't know how Survivor challenges work, so you show up to a challenge, right? And obviously my season of Caramone was 2 tribes. So we have the fans tribe, and there's like a tent, and everyone's like just hanging out in the tent, waiting for, to get mic'd up. They come and put a microphone on you. And then you walk next door to the doctors, and the doctors are there, and they say, hey, Matt, do you have any issues? Like, is there anything wrong with you at the moment before the challenge? And I might say, I have this fucking crazy rash, or I got this fucking infection on my foot, or whatever. They just kind of like pay attention to what's going on. Like they ask you, have you been peeing and pooping normally? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the bathroom. Good. So you're sitting in this tent while every single person goes to the doctor and does the little thing, and they mic your ass up and shit. So I'm assuming that Marianne is someone who's like in the tent, and she's like rehearsing, like, okay, the phrase is blah, 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 blah. So the first time that she has it, because that's what I would do, would be try to just like get it over with and just get that off my chest. So I think is what is going on here, because there's a lot going into before the challenge and stuff that's like very stressful and shit like that. So Mike ends up saying the final phrase, which means, like I said, all 3 idols are activated, which I was like, man, maybe it would be cool if he did not do the phrase and waited till merge. But at the same time, you don't know what this challenge is really going to entail. And if you don't have your vote right now before merge, your ass could fucking go home. So I think Mike made the right decision by saying the phrase.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, you look at it as predictable, Daniel sits out. And so, I mean, if you're just taking a look at the tribes on paper, I mean, between Mike, Lydia, Chanel, and Hai, like, it's by no means a bad group to go into the challenges, but I don't think it's one that you can go, no matter what, we're definitely not going to come in last.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You don't have Jonathan, so.
Yeah, that I really do feel that Jonathan is one of the greatest challenge competitors in Survivor history. I put him up there with the best.
I agree fully with that.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think Jeff loves it because he loves those dominant beasts. There's no one else there. I mean, he loves, Ozzy, Terry Dietz, Colby, and so Jeff is just pumped for him to be there.
Oh, he is. Because I feel that Jonathan is kind of like that. I mean, he's more mellow. He's not like he doesn't seem like douchey to me. Like Ozzy was like super cocky. And I'll tell you one thing I've never met Ozzy, but the producers on the island, like I was climbing a coconut tree one day, and they never showed this on the fucking show. I was all excited. They brought a helicopter in. I was terrified. I climbed to the top of this coconut tree. Michael Snow was like encouraging me. I got about 3/4 of the way up, and I'm like terrified. But I'm like, fuck, this is going to be awesome on TV. I get to the top, and I'm like, man, I feel like Ozzy. I'm throwing all these coconuts down. None of it ever aired on TV. But one of the fucking camera guys is like, dude, like, none of us liked Ozzy. Like, you're basically way cooler than Ozzy. Ozzy was like a cocky asshole, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying what the camera guy told me. So I feel that Jonathan is that like Joe Anglim, Malcolm, Aussie type character, but he's just more like teddy bear lovable. Like he doesn't have, because I think that like Malcolm had a strategic part to him and a physical, where Jonathan is just like strictly physical, like nice guy type person, you know. So I think he's a great player, and he's very entertaining for me to watch. And I'm just like, every time I watch the dude, I'm like, this fucking guy is like unstoppable. It's insane. So Daniel is sitting out on the bench again, which is worse than Sandra Diaz Twine, basically. I mean, Daniel just like, oh, I got nothing to offer this challenge. I'm sitting out. This challenge, you also have a reward aspect to it.
Mhm.
The first tribe that does this gets a big tarp, and then the second place tribe gets a smaller tarp. And as Johnny Fairplay has said, and myself even, having a tarp to protect from the rain in Fiji is a game. I would rather have that than food, because there's always coconuts on the island, right? But when you are sleeping on the shittiest fucking bamboo bed in the history of man, and you have a palm frond roof that's leaking rain, it is the being cold and wet is the fucking worst. So if you had a tarp, it is a total game changer. So even if I didn't win the big tarp, any tarp would rule. I know they kind of wanted food, and when Jeff's like, it's not food, but it's a tarp. The tarp, honestly, I feel is probably better than having the food. So
Yeah.
this challenge. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was going to say, and they seemed really happy. They were just as excited, really, if there was that or food. So didn't seem like too much of a loss.
I will say though, when I played, a tarp I think would have been better than food, but we had rice. These people don't have shit, so food may be more appealing to them. But yeah, the fucking tarp is clutch on this. So this is
Not if you're on Taku and you have Jonathan catching you fish. But
true. Yeah, if you're on Jonathan's tribe, you're like, dude, we're eating like kings. Give us the fucking tarp, man. Totally. That's a great point. So this challenge is got to go up and over a kind of a rope obstacle. Then you have to unbraid a bunch of rope to get a key. Take a machete, smash a rope to then retrieve your sandbags, and it's throw these or actually it's a slingshot sandbags. There's 2 targets, which I think there should have been 3 targets. I think 2 is kind of lame. I was like, man, I don't know about this, but it's a slingshot challenge at the end. So Ika is in first place. They kind of get this shit. They go through this really quick. And then if I'm Jonathan, I would be so pissed on this undo the braided rope portion of the challenge, because Omer is sucking so bad. And I don't even think this is something that like is that complicated. If you two were out there doing that part of the challenge, when you're watching this and you're kind of envisioning yourself doing it, were you like, what the fuck is Omar doing?
That's one of the few things that I look at where I'm like, I actually feel really confident I could get through that pretty quickly. Like,
yeah.
It's not all that difficult.
Yeah, you look at the twisting of the rope. It's just like you're braiding your head. You just unbraid the shit, bam. So I was like, oh my God, Jonathan. I was like, was his whole thing earlier in the episode of like when he's talking about being annoyed by the girls and how he could like lose his temper and blow up? I thought, is this dude gonna like, if they lose, is he gonna fucking blow up? Because he just like turns away. He like can't even watch. And even Probst is like, Jonathan can't even watch what's going on right now. Omer is like fucking sucking so bad.
He always pushes.
What's that?
He always pushes those buttons a little bit.
Oh God, he does. And props to Jeff Probst. Like there's a lot of people that bag on Probst, but I feel that Jeff Probst makes Survivor special. I think, yes, if he gets involved too much in the ideas of what they should do as far as like twists and stuff, but as strictly a host, someone that's able to commentate a challenge like on the fly, I think the dude's fucking great. And even this season, we're not getting as much political agenda type shit at Tribal. We're getting gameplay. And I think that's what is definitely a step above from last season is I watch Survivor to escape the normal shit I see on Facebook and the drama. I'm watching this like if I play Uno or checkers or a video game, an arcade game, I'm playing that to escape reality that I see every day on the news and bullshit, right? So to me, Survivor is a fucking game that we should be able to watch and escape that. So that is why I'm really liking this season. Roxroy ends up winning first place for the Ika tribe. And Jonathan's tribe finally, like Omer, finally catches up. And it's between, who's it between? It's fucking Jonathan is slingshotting. It ends up being like tied 1-1 with, who is it, Dan, that he's tied with?
Who was shooting? Was it Mike that was shooting?
Maybe. I don't know. This is why I asked people.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Zach Hacker would have this shit on a dime. This is why I don't fucking, I can't, the details is what Matt Bischoff is not my forte, dude. Regardless.
I'll take better notes next time.
Okay, Jonathan is a slingshotting machine. They were fucking complete dead last. He's like, pulls it back, aims, boom, fire, knocks the fucking target down. Pulls it back, bam. Jonathan wins it. Unbelievable. Whether it's, like I said, swimming challenge, fucking pulls an entire boat a couple episodes ago of his tribe. This ain't like a carnival game type thing. Nothing. I don't think there's anything besides a memory type brain puzzle thing that I think Hubie created everything, but that type of thing.
It was a challenge where if Jonathan gets a few shots at it, like they're gonna come back and win.
Yeah. I mean,
no
that's
way
just like,
they don't.
Wow, what like yet another reason why if I'm on one of the other tribes and I saw that comeback, I'd be like, yeah, once merge comes, I don't care how much fish this motherfucker brings us, he's got to go. Otherwise, there's no fucking way that we'll be able to beat this guy. So once the winners are announced, you get the tarps are now in effect, which is awesome. And 2 players get chosen to go on the journey to the top of this beautiful green, lush, mountainous thing in Fiji. It's Lydia and Roxroy. And I feel it was a little bit, last season we saw Shan and my name is drawing a blank. Like we see
Liana.
a lot of a lot of connections, right? This Roxroy Lydia, there's really no one's wanting to give up anything, dude. There's no bonding going on whatsoever except Roxroy feeling that Lydia is on the fucking bottom and is like in danger of getting voted out. That's really all that it is. They really didn't get to know one another too much. Were you surprised by this?
They don't seem like two that would click to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of an odd pairing, right?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that the 2 of them didn't click. There's been others where I'm surprised where maybe it didn't work out, kind of like we saw last season. But this one, kind of just looking at them, just like, what do they have to talk about? Unless
and even right now, someone in the chat, which I've been slacking on it, Kyle Dorr says, well, Roxroy even said he sucks at the social game, LOL, which is true. He's definitely came out and said that. And yeah, there's no real bonding going on. And back when you see a flashback of Hai, he's actually excited to go to tribal council to trim some of the fat and get someone out. Hai's obviously a strategic player, not in any way, shape, or form feeling threatened that he's going to go home. And he's like, hey, bring it on. We can just eliminate somebody prior to going into a potential merge. So back at the Vadi tribe, basically everyone's sitting around camp, and Daniel says, look, I would like to talk to every one of you one-on-one, just to kind of plead my case. And then Chanel says the same thing. Like, I want to, hey, look, there's only a few of us out here. Let's just, it is what it is. We know we're on the chopping block. Let us plead our case to see if we can kind of convince you to trust us or keep us or whatever. And I think that is honestly, like, they know that it's one of them. So it's really no secret to try to like go strategize. It's like, well, can we at least kind of like pitch our case and go from there? That's kind of the way that I would play it. There's really no other way to do it. Hai tells Daniel that it's Chanel. Hai acts like, dude, I don't trust Chanel. I trust you, Daniel, more than I do her. And I think that's kind of boosting up Daniel's confidence level. Mike tells Chanel he's 100% writing down Daniel's name. And honestly speaking, Mike seems like one of those firefighter loyal people that what he says, his word is bond. So yes, I feel like he's 100% voting Daniel. But the elephant in the room and the real crazy thing is the fact that Lydia is out on that fucking walk up on the hill with Roxroy. We don't know if she's going to end up risking her vote or playing it safe. And Mike is like, look, if fucking she loses her vote, we could be in big trouble, right? Even though Mike has this idol, I'm sure Mike doesn't want to have to like play his idol at this tribal council. He wants to keep it further into the game. So between Chanel and Daniel, if it were me, I would be like, Chanel seems like the more smart strategic player than Daniel. I would want Chanel to go first. What do you think?
I agree. I think you have to take out Chanel because I think she's shown more to be the more strategic player. And I don't know where Daniel really has to go. And as they've seen him, they've been living with him for 10 days now. He isn't all that great at going up and talking to people. So what's he going to do? I think at that point, if they would have voted off Chanel and kept him, I think he would have been more in debt to, like Hai and Mike. So I think that would have been the better play for them moving forward.
Yeah. Where are you at, Sarah?
I 100% agree. I'd be like, looking at Daniel, he has no shot. No one's going to respect his game. He's probably not going to be able to talk himself up at the end at all. I want him real close to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Chanel just seems too dangerous, in my opinion. I'd be like, okay, I would be like, if I'm High, I'm like, let's do Chanel now. And we can always get Daniel out because if we do go to a merge, everyone's going to realize Daniel's a loose fucking cannon and he'll be easy to vote out. But Chanel could swindle her way throughout the game. She's a big fucking strategic player. So I think she would be the better choice. So then we go to the Lydia and Roxroy journey where obviously they weren't talking, but Lydia's talking about this body image struggle. And we see this footage of her. And this is really, I like this a lot because in today's society, it's fucking crazy because I have teenage boys, right? And I know in high school, it's like the girls are like trying to be what they see on Instagram and they try to be perfect. And I got to be skinny and I got to have my eyebrows this or whatever. And they think that's what, people want to see. But Lydia's like, the beautiful part about it is she's like, look, this was the hardest thing I had to do was to be comfortable in my own skin. On Survivor, you cannot hide. I'm coming out there. You're going to fucking see it all hang out. There's no makeup. There's no fucking way to hide. I'm wearing a bathing suit. If you have fucking fat rolls or pimples or fucking hair growing somewhere or cellulite or whatever the case may be, We are all fucking human beings, right? So I think this is very powerful, and I really hope that anyone that was watching tonight's episode that might have a body image issue realizes fucking own that shit. Because in reality, from personal speaking, like I love women just the way they fucking are. If you have imperfections or whatever, you're not a fucking Instagram filter with, oh, go to this filter that smooths out my face and it fucking smooths out the dimples in my ass and it fucking smooths out the hair bumps I have where I shaved today. It's so unfucking realistic. And when you do play Survivor, you're going on national television and you're going to get people online that are going to talk shit and make fun of you. So no matter how far Lydia makes in this game, the fact that she is okay with her the way she is, that is, I fucking loved it. I really did. That type of thing is what I love. Those kind of messages when it's like political agendas, no, but this kind of shit, I love it. And what will you say, Sarah?
I'm just saying it's so important to have that, and especially with those messages, because there are a lot of, I mean, even Survivor has said a lot of younger people are starting to really watch Survivor. You see it in the audience every time. And for Lydia, who's going to be a role model to a lot of girls or boys, to be able to love who you are is such an important piece, because we need a lot more of that today.
We do. 100%. So here Lydia tells Roxroy, hey, if we were to go to tribal, it may be me. I'm kind of on the bottom. She's kind of being vague. And then Roxroy's trying, pretty being vague as well. So when they go to off their separate ways and they have the choice, Roxroy ends up choosing Protected. And also Lydia chooses Protected, which I loved how this played out. Because losing your vote would totally suck. And we even saw that Mike was saying, dude, if Lydia loses her vote, like this could be really, really bad for us. So Lydia comes back to camp after this journey up the mountain and says, look, I chose to protect my vote. So at this time, we see Lydia and Hai talking. And I love Hai because he is so smart. And they kind of have this game plan. And I really, just like I like Romeo and was it Drea? Is that yes, like that couple. This couple of Lydia and Hai, I'm fucking digging it. It's like totally something like if these people work together in a strategic way, I'm fucking all for it. Because it's like I said, the odd couple. It's like when I played Survivor, it was like the bearded BMX guy from Ohio and the gay event planner from New York City, Michael Snow, were inseparable best friends. And Michael Snow, to this day, is one of my dear friends that we fucking communicate all the time. So I'm loving these relationships leading up to Tribal. And the thing is, there was not a lot of time for Hai and Lydia to talk before Tribal. They had to really fucking scramble going into this Tribal to figure out what they were going to do. So when we go to Tribal Council, Mike, who Johnny Fairplay hung out with tonight, he's such a loyal guy. He's looking at this from a fire department perspective. He's like, look, I'm going to love these people to the day that I fucking die. We are going to lose somebody tonight, but even though we lose somebody, that's still not going to disrupt my love for the group going forward. But I definitely think that everyone on this tribe, even though when Hai said it's time to trim the fat, you create bonds with these people. You're going through this gnarly experience that very few people in the world have ever gone through. And you create these lifelong friendships. And so Mike is like, even if we vote somebody out, we're still going to be strong, and I'm still going to be still going to love you. And then Probe starts talking about analogies and shit. And he wants Daniel to do an analogy, and Daniel's like, I'm not really good at analogies, but I'll probably be friends with Mike till, we're dead, I guess. So this shit was kind of funny. Chanel calls out Daniel that Daniel's kind of props that he gave to Mike could have been just gameplay related, right? Like you're playing on Mike's heartstrings. He's the firefighter guy, and this could be gameplay. And the fact that she calls, like, that's the one thing I do like about Chanel is she's not afraid to call out somebody's gameplay at tribal council, because that takes, some people don't do that. Like even Johnny Fairplay, he's like, dude, Probst gets pissed because when I fucking play Survivor, like I give good confessionals, but when I'm at tribal council, I'm not giving away shit. But these tribal councils, it seems, on this new era of Survivor, that people are giving away a lot of shit. I mean, we've seen Daniel blow up his own game. He even says that I'm not one of the best, players to ever play, but he gives this Muhammad Ali reference, right? And so I just feel if I'm out there on this tribal council, Chanel would probably be the person I'm voting for. I know I've been blabbing, so give me your insight, you guys.
I mean, I would definitely go for Chanel. She's a lot scarier to me. And like I said before, the whole like online game piece, her doing that was such a thing that I would see on like a online game, because it's a lot easier to say things through a screen than it is in real life. So I give her a lot of credit for that, but also just reminded me of how she might play. So yeah, I don't know. Daniel's not scary to me, so I wouldn't want to vote him out.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, so after it ended before, like 2 episodes ago when they went to Tribal, it was Daniel who was more groveling to him, like, hey, I promise I'm with you, like, no matter what. And I think when you had him, kind of wounded there, you can't take everyone at face value with that, but I think he's one of the people that he'd just be so thankful to be spared and protected that I think he'd be with you. Whereas Chanel, she seems way more likely to flip, to find new alliances, because she's never gone back and said, hey, protect me at all costs. I'll do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Not that we've seen anyway. So you'd have to think, especially after seeing that it was split votes the way that it is, that I'm not in with these 3. So I need to find a new path moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Daniel, like if there was a merge scenario, I think Daniel could be someone that learned from his mistakes and would come to somebody and say, Mike or whoever, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm a huge fan of the show. I've said some dumb shit. I think he could have like done some damage control to make himself, able to work with people moving forward. And I definitely think Chanel was just the more sinister, just gamer, to where this is Chanel is someone I feel should have gone out prior to Daniel. So when the vote happens, it's 2 votes Daniel, 2 votes Chanel, 1 vote Mike. They do a revote. Daniel is voted out, and he goes to Jeff Probst, and I forget what he says, but he's just like, he's obviously a lifelong fan. He's like, oh, just say it, Jeff. The tribe has spoken. And
he said he was going to be excited and enjoy it just because it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yeah, I mean, man, I tell you what, when I got voted out, I was really devastated. I remember, like, as I'm walking away, my torch was snuffed. I was like saying, fuck, oh, fuck, this sucks. And I walked to the end of this path. This is when you get voted out, and then the survivor psychologist comes up to you, and we'll kind of give you some food and just check on you, like, Matt, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And then I had to like sit there and wait for the cameras to come, where you do that final at the end of the episode, when you see the person say, their final goodbyes. You're waiting to do that. And when I was waiting to do mine, Jeff Probst comes up to me, and he said, Matt, he's like, what the fuck happened, dude? I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, so-and-so, I guess, voted me out and blah, 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 blah. He's like, dude, this is a big hit to the show. It really sucks that you went home. And I was like, well, thanks, dude. That means a lot.
Aw.
And then this guy, Dave Burris, who's like one of the main producers, comes up to me as I'm waiting to do my final exit thing. And he was like, shook my hand. He's like, dude, it's a pleasure having you on the show. I think the fans are going to be bummed. So at that time, I was like thinking to myself, fuck, cool, man. Like these fuckers like love me. Like maybe I'll get fucking invited to come back again. I had a really good feeling. And obviously I haven't played a second chance yet. If Survivor Casting is listening to Reality NSFW, my number is blah, 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 blah. Give me a call. But, I think it was a devastating thing for me. And I think for Daniel, as a big fan, he obviously said, I envision myself to kind of win the game and just like I beat cancer, but it didn't happen. Daniel, props to you, dude.
Mhm.
Cincinnati native. I love you. I can't wait to meet you. But I do think that you had some flaws in your game. I'm not saying my game was perfect, but I definitely think Daniel's flaws in the game were not being confident in himself, putting out too much information when he shouldn't have, kind of digging his own grave. And I think when he goes back and watches this, that he would agree with what I'm saying. But overall, fucking the episode, I dug it. And next week is a 2-hour episode. I'm assuming maybe it's a double boot episode. Dan, you think or no?
Well, it depends. If we get the dreaded hourglass thing like we did last time, remember that? So it was rather than doing 2 hours, they did 2 1-hour episodes, and it ended with the hourglass. And then the next episode was the remainder of it.
Yeah.
So if that unfortunately is back, maybe that's a way of putting it all in one episode rather than breaking it up to 2. I'd much rather it be a double boot and not have that, but that was another thought.
Totally. So yeah, it's going to be 2 hours, and it's like you see everyone show up, and Mike is like, "Is this a merge?" He's like, not really." So I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it's a swap of some sort. Maybe there's some other twist going on. But regardless, my thoughts so far are I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. I know we're in a new era of Survivor. I'm hoping Survivor continues for years and years and years. I definitely think that they've experimented with different things. Some things are cool. Some things are fucking totally stupid. And I know if Johnny Fairplayer were here, he'd have a big opinion on how much he hates certain things. But I'm excited that Survivor is back. And I love this cast. And I can't wait to see where this goes. And Dan, Sarah, thank you so much. Johnny, like I said, is on location at Bryce and Wendell's viewing party in D.C. And Johnny's going to be pissed if I don't mention this shit. I know that he's got April 20th. He has a live viewing party somewhere, probably in Nashville, where there's going to be a lot of guest survivors, probably Figgy, Libby, and some other guests. And he's doing a lot of other live shows, but I'm not sure where to get. Do you know where you get tickets for the Nashville show? Do you know?
SurvivorTix.com.
SurvivorTix.com. Survivor TIX.
Yeah, I believe he said that it was going to be Figgy, Keith and Whitney from South Pacific, and Taj Jordan from Tocantins. And then I also know the following week it's 427 in Durham, North Carolina at the Dirty Bull, where there'll be other former contestants, as well as I believe Sarah and I will both be there as well.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Dude. And so myself, pay attention to Johnny and I's Instagram. I will be at Johnny Fairplay's house in 48 hours from now. God help me. I'm going to Fairplay's house on Friday, hanging out, playing some pinball, and then going to see Jerry Cantrell, who's the guitar player from Alice in Chains. He's playing some solo shows, so we're going to see him on Saturday night. So I'm sure you'll be seeing some shit like that. So if you want to support this podcast and get more content ad-free, nsfw.com, become a patron. And guys, girls, what a fucking fun night. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
I love you guys. And we will see you all next week on another episode of Survivor 42. Cheers.
All right. Good night, everyone.
And for more Reality NSFW content, visit adfreensfw.com.